For this video, I've set myself a challenge. Can I build and paint the whole Ironjawz Spearhead in just 7 days, and actually make it look good? No shortcuts, no airbrush, just some contrast paints and a plan. By the end of this video, we'll find out if it's actually possible to get a full Spearhead painted and tabletop ready in just 1 week. Can it be done? Let's find out. My name's Michael and welcome to TableTopReady, and in this video I want to see how quickly I can paint a full Spearhead box, and I reckon I can do it in less than a week, so why not join me on this journey and we'll find out together. And so you can follow along and paint your own Ironjawz Spearhead. All the paints and brushes I use will be shown on the screen as I use them, along with links to my favourite hobby tools and equipment you see me using. And if you like these challenge style videos, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next one. So when you're ready, we can get started and look at how I'm going to make this happen. So if I'm actually going to get this done in less than a week, I'm going to need a solid plan. But I know it's not just going to be about being fast, I'm also going to need to be smart with my time. The first thing I decided early on was that I wanted to build things in sub-assemblies where I could. Doing this means an easier, more enjoyable time painting and not having to stress about getting into difficult areas to paint. When it comes to painting the Ironjawz, I'm keeping it simple. I love using contrast paints and I know they're going to be crucial to helping me get everything painted quickly, but I don't want to stop there. I also want to spend time highlighting some key details like armour to help them look even better, helping them to stand out on the tabletop. And if I do have time, we'll see what else we can do to really elevate them and impress anyone who sees them. It's coming up to about 6 o'clock now. I'm ready to start mounting all the sub-assemblies, but I've got I have got everything all built now. So to make the sub-assemblies, I like to use the empty sprues and then just some blocks from Tower Games. So I've got all those ready, so hopefully this shouldn't take too long, and then all I've got to do is undercoat them. Once I had everything built, I knew I wanted to undercoat everything using Wraithbone spray, which is designed for contrast paints, and it's really going to help give us a vibrant finish to our Ironjawz once they're done. So we're at the end of the first day now. It's coming up to 9 o'clock. I started about 9 o'clock this morning, so it's been quite a long day. But I really wanted to get these guys built and undercoated today, so they can dry overnight and I can just get started on painting them tomorrow. There is quite a few sub-assemblies there, but again it's going to save a lot of time later. If you're wondering how I do this, then I do have a video where I'll show you how I do my sub-assemblies and undercoating. I'm not the biggest fan of having to build miniatures, but it's not my favourite part of the process, but it has to be done. I'm starting to wondering if I'm going to regret this, or if I've bitten off more than I can chew. See how I feel at the end of tomorrow. If you want to learn more about how I get my miniatures ready for painting, I do have a dedicated video on the channel showing you how, including making sub-assemblies and getting miniatures undercoated. Day 1 was getting everything built and undercoated, which was a long day, about 10 hours, but I got it done. Now it's time to get all of our main colours done, and I'm hoping this is only going to take a couple of days to do, but it's definitely going to be the most time consuming part of the plan, and that's exactly why we're going to be using contrast paints. When using contrast paints, they work best from a lighter undercoat to take advantage of how they're designed to give us our base colour and at the same time create our definition. We want to apply contrast as evenly as possible, avoiding going over areas we've already applied the contrast, and we want to use enough to cover areas comfortably. We don't need to thin our contrast paints, but I do recommend working from a dry palette so we can control how much we have on our brush. Take your time making sure we finish each area or detail before moving on to the next for best results, as the contrast dries pretty quickly. Let's start with Skeleton Horde for any wraps, and if you want to have variation and a lighter tone for skulls and bony details, we can thin this down with an equal amount of contrast medium. For the tongues, let's use Volupus Pink, as this will need to be done before sticking any heads on. Next is the skin for our Uruks, and for this we're using Gut Ripper Flesh. Just remember for best results to take your time, which sounds crazy when doing a time challenge, but this is going to help prevent us from making any mistakes and missing areas that we would have to deal with later. Now it's time to get the yellow armour done, and of course we use an Ironjawz yellow. Once you've done that, to make the armour look more interesting and more like you see on the box, let's thin down Ironjawz yellow with an equal amount of contrast medium. What this does is weaken the strength of the contrast so it doesn't overpower what we use it over, and it acts more like a glaze, helping to deepen our yellow, as well as adding these nice warm tones. If you want, we can do a similar thing with the skin, thinning down some Beltane green with an equal amount of lime medium, to help create more definition if you think you need it. So we're at the end of day 2 now. Mostly I've done the armour and skin plus a couple of other details. I kind of assumed I'd be a bit further than I am now, but honestly I still think I'm going to be on track to finish all the base colours and shades tomorrow. Today was a shorter day than yesterday. I think I'm just going to go through until I've made sure I've done all the base colours, just to stay on track. I'm still pretty motivated. I do feel like I am going to be able to achieve getting all these painted in less than a week. I won't spoil how I've painted them yet, obviously you're watching in the video, but it's been pretty helpful having the sub-assemblies. A lot of the time has been choosing where to paint the yellow, so making the decisions has actually slowed things down. So I've just kind of looked at the box and seen where they've painted the yellow. So we'll see how we get on tomorrow. For any clothing and materials, I want to keep it simple and use Basilicanum Grey and Wildwood. After any clothing and materials are done, for any straps, pouches and boots, let's use some Sigor Brown. And whilst we use our contrast paints, you may have noticed because of how thin contrast paints can be, sometimes it's a good idea to apply it a second time. We can even mix our contrast paints if we don't have the colour we're after. So for any weapon handles I wanted a lighter brown, so I mixed together Sigor Brown and Gorgrunter Fur. Now it's time to paint the armour sections. We want to be black with Black Legion, and this is where I know I needed to apply the contrast again for a solid colour. Finally, it's time for our metals, which are painted with Lead Belcher, so this is any weapons and remaining armour sections for even more variety. To create our definition for these areas, let's use some Norn Oil for weapons and Agrax Earthshade for armour sections. Apply enough shade to cover areas comfortably without letting it pool up too much in areas we don't want it to.
We're at the end of day 3. I've not actually quite finished doing what I wanted to get done. The silver's taken a bit longer than I wanted it to, but I've only got the 4 odd boys left to get the silver down, but then I do need to do some shades as well before I move on to highlights. I also want to do some extra stuff to the war boss, so I've just got to do the little skulls. I want to do sort of extra bits for that before we move on to highlighting. I kind of knew it would probably take maybe an extra day, but hopefully the highlighting and the few extra bits towards the end of the video don't take as long as I want them to. I'm still pretty confident that I'm going to get this done by the end of the week.
Let's get the extra details on the boss done now, starting with the Bloodletter skull using Corax White, applying Apothecary White contrast once it's dried. For the larger skull we can get fancy building up our contrast first with Skeleton Horde, and we can apply this a second time when we want to get darker with it. When we want to get even darker, we can weaken Wildwood with contrast medium, and then just Wildwood as it is to finish. Guys, if you're enjoying this challenge style video and want to see more in the future, make sure to like the video and why not subscribe so you don't miss out on more challenge content in the future. Now everything has got some colour and definition, we could actually stop here as these are ready for the tabletop, but I don't want to stop here. Even though we're trying to get these done quickly, I still want them to look good and make an impact, and highlights are really going to help draw our attention to them. But because this is a time challenge, I'm being selective with what I'm highlighting, so I'm choosing the areas that our highlights are going to do the most work. I've also decided at this stage to finish assembling everything now that we have all the main colours done, This way we only focus on what actually needs highlighting and not the areas that are hidden. To attach the parts after painting, I'll just use some super glue. I wanted to make sure that we included highlighting, because it's this that's really going to make a difference to the look of our miniatures, helping to bring out all those details and the shape of things, especially from a distance. The main areas I've chosen to highlight is the armour and the different sections and panels. For the yellow armour sections I'm using Dawn Yellow, and for best results we're going to thin our paint with an equal amount of water. I'm also removing excess paint on some paper towel first to give us more control and prevent thick blobby lines. Take your time when highlighting, painting thin lines along any raised edges and details, and this can be made easier if you have really pronounced edges by angling our brush along that edge and running it along it to create a highlight. And once you're done, you'll hopefully see that it was worth it and how it's helped to make the armour look even better. If you want even more help with your highlighting and want to know what helped me improve, I do have a dedicated video on the channel going into more detail about it. For any black armour sections, let's use Dawnstone.
We're now at the end of day 4, everyone. Good progress today. It's not actually been a long day today. Probably a good standard 8 hours. I finished the metals, doing the armour and weapons, then I shaded those. At the last minute, originally I was going to keep them as sub-assemblies, but before I started highlighting I made the last minute decision to assemble them at this stage, which I'm really glad I did, because it just makes highlighting kind of less overwhelming and intimidating, and it kind of shows you guys how they look without doing the highlights. So I think actually tomorrow I'm gonna push to finish them, because all I've got to do is just highlight the black armour now, and then just doing the like the fun bits like the chipping, a bit of weathering. Honestly, they're looking great. The amount of time I've spent on them.
If you've got the time, we can do a quick dry brush of Stormhost Silver for weapons to help them stand out against the armour. This just involves removing the paint from the brush on paper towel until you can't see any coming off anymore. Once you're ready, let's move our brush rapidly across details, so these are the only areas which paint will deposit, leaving recesses and shallow areas untouched. Our Ironjawz are looking really nice now with our added highlights, but again I think we can go even further, adding more interest and narrative to finish them off. Everything in this section I consider optional, but I know it's these steps that are really going to elevate our Ironjawz. They're the more fun things to do as well that add character and narrative, which I really enjoy adding to my miniatures. I love spending the extra time doing the cool stuff, which is a great opportunity to make our miniatures more unique to us. It also helps them to really stand out and feel like they've seen battle and could tell their own story. Let's start with something easy and paint areas of the skin with Kislev flesh. Areas like ears, wounds and pulled skin where it's thinner. It's a small thing to do but really adds warmth and life. Next we can weather our armour and make it look more battle worn with some chipping. To do this, let's use some Cygor brown and painting the chips more along the highlighted edges and raised areas, the places more likely to be knocked about. Take your time doing this and build it up slowly until you're happy with how it looks, as too many chips can overpower what we've already done. The last fun thing to do is to add colour to our black armour sections with some dirt and grime, thinning down some Doomball brown and painting this around rivets and into recesses, and this can be done for the metal armour sections as well. This adds warmth to the black areas and gives the impression of dried mud that's built up over time, helping to weather our armour even more.
So I'm officially calling it here. I've decided they're officially done. End of day 5. It's not actually been a long day today. I knew just finishing the highlights and the last few bits wasn't going to take long, but done in less than a week. I'm pretty happy with that. I know the bases aren't done, but I'm just going to paint them black, and then you guys can just choose however you want to do your bases. The important thing was just to see how quickly I can get the Ironjawz Spearhead painted.
This has been a tough challenge, but I knew if I had the right plan and focused my time and attention to where it mattered, we would have no problem getting our Ironjawz painted. It's also been a lot of fun to do, and I can't wait to expand on them even more. So let's see how they turned out. But before we see the finished miniatures, I want to say a massive thank you to all the amazing people who've made this tutorial possible with their continued support. It really means a lot. Your generosity allows me to get all the paints, brushes and miniatures I need to make these tutorials, so I can continue to help you get better at painting. Thank you so much. If you enjoy the content here on TableTopReady and feel you get value from it, you can also help support the channel by becoming a channel member or joining my Patreon. You'll get access to our Discord, regular updates and early access to videos and tutorials. Our Ironjawz are now finished and I hope I've given you the confidence and knowledge to get your own painted. This has been a fun challenge, and what I love the most is that even though this was a speed challenge, they don't look rushed. We've been smart with how we painted them. The contrast paints with some added washes and shades to add definition really help get all of our colours done quickly. And even though they look good enough for games, I'm really happy I continue to add highlights and character, which makes them a really enjoyable collection to have and excited to add to. Remember, you don't have to paint yours in a week, but having a plan and breaking it down into focused sections can really make a huge difference. Thanks for joining me on this challenge. I've had so much fun making this video and I'm already looking forward to the next one. If you enjoyed it, please make sure to like it and let me know in the comments, I love reading them. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on future content, and I'll see you in the next video.